Hey friends, hope the morning's treating you well. I hope you have your coffee. I do not have any coffee this morning. I've had plenty of coffee, so I hope I'm up to the task, but I'm in Greencastle, Indiana. I'm on the campus of DePauw University. You should Google that. DEPAUW University. Little small town. I love Greencastle, but it's Christmas, and I hope that whatever you celebrate, I hope that it's a good one for you guys and you get to spend it however you want to spend it. I've decided that I would spend it right here on the campus of DePauw University. It's windy and it's cold. It's not too bad. The temperatures aren't horrible, but it's really windy, and I'm ducked behind a building like right here on the campus. There's a big brick building that I'm hiding behind and hoping it's a proper windbreak so that we don't relive the Brighton Beach debacle. But man, I hope you guys are enjoying the morning. Hope Santa Claus was good to you if you're into that. Never really been a big Christmas person myself. We don't really celebrate it around our house. We enjoy getting together and stuff, but I'll go on about some of that later. Either way, we're having a good morning, and it's beautiful to be here on a beautiful campus when there's nobody there. You have the whole thing. You should Google and see that building is just beautiful old building. And but I wanted to talk a little bit about the Waylon stuff. We had a Waylon Jennings week, and you guys seem to enjoy that a lot. A lot of people came and watched that stuff. And Barry, I've known Barry Walsh and Gretchen Peters. I met them like right when I moved to Nashville, I think, like in the first year or so. So it's been like 13, 14 years, something like that. And I used to see Barry at the dog park there in East Nashville. You might, like last week, I was in Shelby Park there in East Nashville. A few hundred yards from where I was standing, there is a dog park. And I used to bring our dog Russell over there. And Barry would be there with his dog Nigel and just shoot the crap. Really nice guy. Always enjoyed being around him. And he had some Waylon stories, So that's the neat thing about a place like Nashville. The cat that you run into at the dog park used to play piano for Waylon Jennings, and will sit there and tell you stories about being on the road with Waylon and other people. And so I enjoy that sort of thing and miss that about Nashville, miss the people and all that. But I love being here in Indiana also. It's probably a little warmer in Nashville right now, but they don't have the campus of DePauw University. But I remember we mentioned it in the third video. I remember that he played on Austin City Limits with Waylon. So it's recorded for all time. And I thought, man, I wanted to ask him about that, like everything that he could remember. So sometimes you base these videos going into it. This is a little tip for people wanting to interview people. You get these ideas of things you want to talk about. And then when you bring it up, he really didn't remember a lot about that gig, but he has all of these other stories, that I don't even know I don't know enough to ask about those. So, there's that moment when you realize, well, he doesn't have that much on this, but he does have this other stuff, and you just let people talk, man. You just follow up on things they said, and that's always a lot more interesting than the things that you brought to the table. There's the things that you want to ask people, and then sometimes those don't go anywhere, and you need to realize that, and I kind of pride myself on being able to do that sometimes. Well, pat myself on the back. I don't mean to do that. But, some of that stuff I didn't know. I also remember, man, this is 10 years ago, like Twitter. There was this thing going around on Twitter with him and his friends where, people in the 80s dressed a certain way, had certain haircuts, and it wasn't always the sort of thing you look back on fondly. And there were some people on Twitter giving him a hard time about I don't know what he was wearing. I don't even remember what he was wearing. They were giving him a hard time. And I just remember thinking, what in the hell has this world come to where, this guy was on stage with Waylon Jennings, preserved for all eternity, on video on Austin City Limits. This amazingly great show that defined an era of music, and people are giving him a hard time about it. It's like, man, he's playing with Waylon Jennings. He's a made man. What the hell have you done with your life? And that's kind of what I came back in a nice way, on Twitter, and everybody got a laugh about that. Next time I saw him at the dog park, appreciate that, man. I'm like, well, good Lord, dude, what in the hell? Who among us? I don't know that many people who have played, with Waylon Jennings, or any, some huge star, that people respect and love years later, and let alone have it captured on the coolest damn TV show going. For all eternity. But anyway, that also reminds me, I have not been on Twitter for over a year. I haven't tweeted once in 2021, not on purpose. Just I've never been a big Twitter guy. Not a big social media guy, but there's it's one of those things that you kind of have to do every now and then when you're in the business I'm in, the Otis Gibbs business. And but I just realized about a month ago, wow, you haven't tweeted at all, and I haven't missed it. And actually always had I know that there's a lot of ugliness and negativity on Twitter in a lot of ways, but I've never really had any of that. And I try not to throw too much of that out there myself, but so my little bitty Twitter bubble has always been a good one. But you get on there and you start looking and you're like, is this really adding anything to my life? So I'll probably wait the rest of the year so I can say I never tweeted once in 2021, and then I might tweet beginning next year. I might gloat about that. I don't know. Or I might just never go back and look at it ever again. That would be the smart thing to do. But, it's part of paying the bills sometimes. But just so you guys know a little bit about DePauw while I'm here, there's on the other side of this building, I don't think you can see any of it, but on the other side of this building is an old church, and Martin Luther King once spoke at that church, which is really, really cool. Got to go inside there and stand at the pulpit and check that all out. I think that's pretty damn great. And also a building just over here, back in sometime in the 60s, Jimi Hendrix played in like a basketball, like a field house or whatever over here. He played with the Isley Brothers. He was playing guitar with the Isley Brothers, so he wasn't, he'd yet to become Jimi Hendrix. And the gig was, they were playing for a fraternity, I believe. It was for the kids that go to the school. It was one of their, they booked in, the kids always know what to book in. They booked in the Isley Brothers and Booker T and the MGs. And from stories I've heard, it was a basketball court. On one end was the Isley Brothers. They took up the nets, how you roll them up and they go up the ceiling. So on one side is the Isley Brothers, and on the other side's Booker T, the MG. So when one finished, the other started. And I've heard secondhand stories. I have friends who had friends that were at that gig, and we talk about them just being completely blown away by who is this guitar player with the Isley Brothers. And then maybe a year or two later, I think Jimi Hendrix played at the Indiana State Fair. He also played up in Muncie. He played a few times in around Indiana, and he was Jimi Hendrix, and the people were like, man, that's that dude that we saw. And I always loved that story. Just a little small town in Indiana. I think there's 8,000 population to Greencastle. It might be more than that, but I think that's about all it is. And, Jimi Hendrix came right in the middle of, once you get outside of town, a lot of cornfields and hills and stuff. And I love the idea. That's the gigs that they were doing. Actually, Kevin, I interviewed him about the Beatles stuff. He was saying that when he first started working for Eric Clapton, he tour managed Eric Clapton and Wishbone Ash and a lot of other bands like that. And he said they were all playing like high school gyms and stuff like that. And it was kind of before rock and roll just became this thing that happened at the arenas and such. Oh, here comes the wind. Hopefully you're trying to block try to block it. Hopefully you're not hearing that through the microphone too bad. But man, there's a visiting writers series here at DePauw that is phenomenal. This is like a smart kids school. They forever have invited people. They've invited visiting writers or speakers. There's world leaders that have traveled over here, like Gorbachev came over and gave a speech here at DePauw University. Bill Clinton, Ronald Reagan, Pierre Trudeau. There's like world leaders that would travel. What's the cat that owns Fox News? Not my favorite guy, but he spoke here. And who else? Rupert Murdoch, that's his name. He was one of the visiting writers. There's like these really big name people that have come and visited here, and it's an impressive thing to have such a tradition in a small town. And a university brings a lot to an area culturally, and we were actually we came really close to moving here. There was a house a few blocks over this way that I tried to buy, and they took it off the market. But when we moved up this was Amy's first choice, was to come to Greencastle, and it didn't happen. Maybe one day. I'm kind of bad about how I look at real estate listings, and I have for 20 years, like every day. So I love old houses, and I just love to see the pictures of the old houses with pocket doors, and just the clawfoot tubs, just a beautiful 100-year-old wallpaper and stuff like that. I'm a real sucker for that kind of thing, and these little small towns, you can buy, old mansions for not very much money, for way less than you're paying to live probably where you live right now. And but anyway, that's a whole nother story I might go into down the road. But Brad Stevens, the Boston Celtics head coach, was a star player here in Greencastle at DePauw, and I think his first coaching gig was DePauw University, and went on to Butler, which is in my old neighborhood up in Broad Ripple in Indianapolis, and ended up at coaching the Celtics. I don't know if he's still there or not. I haven't paid attention to basketball in a while, which is a very bad thing for a kid from Indiana to say, but there's so much other things to pay attention to. I can only keep up to so much. But I do want to say something about it's Christmas. It's I realize a lot of you are fortunate, and you're getting to spend time with the people that you care about. You have a lot of people around you that and I hope hopefully you're being able to see the people you need to see, and it's safe and all of that. But if you don't have anybody, I want you to know you're not alone out there. We definitely have a community here, and the comments under these videos, it's a nice place to be. There's a lot of nice people. We all see the world in different ways, but there aren't a lot of assholes that stop by, and that's a good thing. So man, it's hard in the winter. I don't know if you've heard the seasonal affective disorder. There's like a lack of daylight. Look how overcast it is right now. I really dig that myself, but it can weigh on you, and it weighs on me. I have to make myself go outside and stand in the sunshine when the sunshine comes out. And being isolated for most of the last couple of years, it can weigh on you. And I just want you to know, try to think about that. If you're wondering why you're so down, there's a lot of reasons to be down right now. There's a lot of reasons. And I had my booster shot about 3 days ago. It kind of wore me out for about a day, but I feel great now. And you watch the news, and you're seeing just all kinds of ugliness, and it's real. It's real. I'm not going to pretend it's not out there, but I try to make this a place where we can escape some of that, because we need the escape every now and then. It doesn't mean that we're not paying attention and we don't care. It just means that you need a timeout every now and then. And I have a tour coming up in the Netherlands in like the 1st of February, and they're locked down till like the 19th. So I don't know what to think about that. I don't know that that's going to happen. I'm supposed to do some dates in Denmark right after that, and we'll see what happens with that. Hopefully whatever's best and safest will happen and allows everybody. I don't know, not even sure how to talk about it, but I just want you guys to know I know the real world exists, but it's nice to be in a world where you can forget about that and think about the Beatles and Waylon Jennings every now and then. I don't know. That's kind of what, I don't know. I guess we're at the end of the year and I start thinking of things like that. I start thinking that way. This video right here is the 169th video I've uploaded in 2021. 169 videos published. And YouTube sends you these, I don't know, stats, little reminders or whatever. They sent me this thing last week that said, man, I'm going to mess this up. It was 19.8 million minutes that people have spent watching my videos in 2021. 19.8 million. I got online and I looked up. I'm like, well, how long is that? It was over 37 years. So if you took the time that people have spent watching this channel this year, it adds up to over 37 years. Now, this is not a huge channel. This is just my little dog and pony show. This is my diner on the corner down the street from you. This isn't like some huge, there are a lot of really big channels out there, and I don't pretend to be anything that I'm not. This is just a place where we go and talk about music and have fun. But that number kind of floored me. It was just like, wow, that's, if they only told me that number, I would, I'm not sure what I would think, but just think about that, man. We're not alone, and there's people spending time with us here, and they seem to be enjoying the time because they're coming back, and I, for one, appreciate that. I can hear a car going by, kind of loud pipes. I feel good that we've gone this far. Yeah, I feel good we've made it this far in a small town doing a video without loud pipes or a train going by. That's pretty good, but anyway. So 169 videos, and I'll probably upload something else before we get to the end of the year. But I want you guys to know that I appreciate you being here, and I really do hope if you're into the holidays, whatever you call it, whatever you celebrate, if you celebrate something at all, I really do hope it's something, it's whatever you would like it to be. And I'm going to get off here, and I'm going to go do some of my version of holiday stuff and walk around. But be sure and Google DePauw University, Greencastle, Indiana. Just look at the pictures of these beautiful buildings here on the campus. And if you see the visiting writers series or visiting speaker series, don't even remember what they call it. There's some really neat names, and maybe if I remember, I'll try to put some of that down below. And thank you guys so much who have been hitting that tip jar throughout the year. It's nice being able to feed the cats and the dog and to buy coffee. And I can't expect there to be coffee anywhere today. Hopefully people aren't working. Everybody's off work, so wasn't anywhere to get coffee. But I'll go back home and get me some. But anyway, merry, happy, whatever you're into, and I hope you guys enjoy the day and take care of each other. Much love to you.